The last one could not. So I'm already going to start this one. Sarah.
No.
Good move. She's careful with everything.
It's okay. It's a little heavy. You got to really, it's okay to grip it. It's pretty sturdy.
Like, is this the place to hold it?
That's it. That's the handle. So now that both cameras are out, we're going to be in some spaces where people don't like their cars to be filmed, and they don't like to be filmed themselves. If I do like an Andy's Coming from Toy Story, that basically means you're going to be playing on a cell phone, which is part of the reason why I handed it to you, because teenagers with a cell phone, that looks natural. However, with your camera, Sarah, you're going to point it at the ground. So again, yeah. Right now it's recording. We're fine. You can keep it, recording on me. People do love in those apartments above me, so try not to be like super YouTube girl and pointing it everywhere. All right, let's get into the next pieces. Let me make sure I got the right one. Perfect. Spirit boxes. We're going to be using a couple different spirit boxes tonight. Spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. So, basically, your TV shows will kind of give you all the white noise, then Zach Bagans tells you the bullshit he thinks he heard in the middle of the show, like put it on the middle of the screen, trying to convince you of the same thing. We're going to be doing this in real time. So what does that mean for us? This is sweeping through the FM radio stations at a pretty slow rate. I slow it down on purpose because, first off, you guys aren't listening to white noise for 2 hours straight, plus all the history I'm going to give you. Somebody's going to fall asleep. I want the radio chatter to come through. So DJs, song lyrics, commercials, whatever you hear, I want to know what you hear. If it says buy a Kia today, I want to know that you heard buy a Kia today. This one is going to record the entire session for us. What does that mean for you? You're going to get the recording back tomorrow morning. John's going to have an earbud in. He's going to be the only one to hear it in real time. So I'm going to be writing down whatever you hear in real time. So in the event that you struggle, it's not a big deal. This is not an easy task to do. I'm going to go through the recording tomorrow morning and give you about 15 to 25 more markers on top of whatever he heard and give you whether it's relevant or not. So that way you guys all get used to like how to listen to this device. So some of those, things that I'm going to find might not be relevant. So, John, I do not want earbuds back because your earwax is gross.
Nice.
Oh, yeah,
I was going to ask if that was...
Today,
yeah, I was like...
Undo the twist tie. Your volume is right here. It's a wheel. So it's not the button. You'll mess with it with the recording. But you can mess with that volume all you want to. It will not mess with the recording. Cool. So, again, there's a little twist tie on there.
I think we were all probably thinking, like, oh my God, I don't want the earbuds.
No. I buy, I have boxes of them come in.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I buy them in bulk. I don't want them back. Just a business expense. It's all a write-off.
Oh, yeah, like hotels have.
Cleaned it and we'll
Yeah, I know, right?
Back in the bag.
I'm taking a little video of you guys, so like, smile, yay!
Alright, so if you guys watch the TV shows, you've probably seen an ovulus before. That's the one that actually gives you the words, actually on the screen. We're going to be using something very similar. So with this guy, obviously we can see the name Edna right in the middle of this screen. So it's going to save all of the terms to a list. So last night we actually had 93 terms come up. Here's what I'm going to tell you about this. This is a phone app. It's meant to try to scare people. It's meant to be a game and a hoax. 80% of this is going to be BS. It's not going to mean anything. It's the other 5 to 20% that I get excited about. Obviously, I'll tell you why it's relevant and then give you guys the link to verify it. So with this, I will tell you, I love using this guy specifically, and it has the word clown. So we're pretty much just going to throw that one away. Like, that's garbage to me. There's no clowns nearby that I know of. But at any rate, the ovuluses that you guys see on television has 2,048 terms in it. This guy has over 9,100. So it has like 4 times the amount of terms that the actual device meant to do this actually has. So I don't want to see every word that pops up. I will come to you when I want to see where the word list is at. Otherwise, we're going to be out here till like 4 in the morning because there's going to be a lot of terms that pop up. And John, you get to carry the bag. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I've been carrying the bag all day.
I'm like, can you carry this? It's heavy.
Just go to Charleston. I haven't carried your bag in a while.
I think she pressed the button. I don't know what I...
You broke a cell phone? Really?
Just slide it up. Oh, okay.
You're good. Alright, so this last one, you guys have probably seen like the blinky light EMF detectors on television, because they're pretty sensitive. This one's way more accurate. That's why I like to use this one. I have those blinky light ones, but this one is way more accurate. So, John, you're going to be my multitasker. Anything above 2.5 on the big numbers, I want to know what's going on. We're going to debunk it or prove it pretty quickly.
Okay.
The bottom number is ambient temperature. So in the event Amelia finds something on her camera,
boom, down.
We got it. The last thing it has a REM pod built into it. If anything gets close to that antenna that I just pulled out, it's going to go off. The closer it gets, the higher it's going to go.
This is the creepy one.
So,
I'm so excited.
We don't use this all the time as far as the REM pods, so I'll show you more about that at the next location.
Gotcha.
So,
can I ask you a quick question now about this? Are we going to that cemetery?
Which cemetery?
Okay, it's
We have
small
dozens.
one. Everything is very close together. Bulldog goes to it.
Well, here's what I'll tell you about Bulldog. Bulldog has exclusive rights to pretty much the entire town.
Okay.
They go wherever they want to go. So, do we go inside of a cemetery? We do not.
Okay,
Do we
that's
get close to one? We do.
That's cool. That's
So-
right. Yeah, it's
We had something weird.
Like something happened.
We were walking out and like it felt like water like dripped out of the trees, and it had been raining earlier, and I like
No, it
saw
hadn't.
him. It did earlier, but so that's what I thought it was. And, like I saw him go like this, and I did
Like-
that, but then there was like nothing wet in my hair. I was like, that was weird, and I was
About
like,
the
did you have water in your
two-kid
hair?
ghost or something?
And he was like, no.
Awesome.
And then
So-
just like we were both like, ugh.
I thought this would be really neat.
Like
for that.
there was
Welcome to
no water
Charleston.
in the hair, but
Strange
it like
things
felt
happen,
it go
Joe.
pat 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 like
creepy.
pitter patter.
This is the best place. You know, all the ghost tours I've been on, this town seems to be like the best for it.
We have a lot of really great historians here that like really know their stuff. Have been
Yeah.
doing this for decades.
Oh, yeah.
And I pick their brains all the time.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I will sneak in on their tours. Like I'll buy a ticket. They don't know who I am because I'm their competitor, and
Uh-huh.
I'll go and pick their brains and I'll record the whole thing and go
Nice.
home and listen to it. Like where were we? That maybe I can add to my tour later.
Awesome.
I don't have a whole lot of friends in this industry. I have one, and he's pretty cool with me bouncing things off of him and that kind of thing because he's been doing it for 25 years.
Mhm.
So, but he loves what I do out here. So he's like fascinated the fact that I'm as busy as I normally am. He's like, I've never seen anybody come in as a private tour the way you do it, and you're busy every night, and your ratings are through the roof.
Best
He's
of
like,
the best 2021.
Yeah,
We saw that.
Traveler's Choice.
Yeah,
That's
man.
right.
Yeah, man.
About to get that Forget Your Guide because I just signed up with them.
Nice.
All right, so let's kind of start why we're here, right? There's a reason why we start here on this creepy corner. So Big John's behind me. Big John's is actually, you can see what it says, established in 1955. This used to be owned by a football player, Big John Kennedy. Most people use just one earbud, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
In case you want to play with the
I'm just
volume.
trying to wait till I can hear which
Yeah,
one.
I got you. So Big John played for the 1947 New York Giants. This was his bar. He used to sit in the back of it and tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. And one night, two guys come in, they're not old enough. So Big John has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty angry. They come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on. He slams down his beer on the bar, and he goes over and just starts pounding these guys into the floor, just beating the heck out of them. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets grazed in the neck, and the bullet lands behind him in the wall. He gets up after being shot, and he goes back to the bartender and tells him to get him another beer, gets the two guys on the floor in ambulance. So, you guys normally think of a haunted building, means somebody died there. Not necessarily in this case. What's haunting the place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. Even this new renovation, even if they filled it in, it's a possibility. It's a great possibility that the blood of Big John is still in the building. It was his place. He's dead and gone now. But people that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. This is kind of like your heated warning. If anybody feels any of those symptoms tonight, I need to know immediately. It is a very, very big deal. Safety is always a major concern when we're out doing this every single night. So again, that is your heated warning. I won't say that people haven't passed out from this tour in the past. So we'll talk more about that as we kind of move along. Sarah's already like, all right, I'm not so sure now.
It'll be fine.
So let's get our minds off our own health, because that's literally the scariest thing I'm probably going to tell you all night long, because it deals with your own health. If you haven't heard about our big earthquake in 1886, because every tour guide talks about it, I'm going to talk about it again. Because Big John's, the building, is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see in the middle of the building wraps around the front of the building as well. A piece of it from the front broke off during the earthquake, struck somebody in the back of the head, and killed them. And they say you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street. I say apparently and allegedly a lot with that because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour. Now that I bring it up again, right, Sarah?
Yeah, it's back.
Yeah, good job.
Back now.
Good job, you jerk. All right, so you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Did I push something?
Nope, you're good.
Okay. All right.
So your little 2 pointers are probably because we're standing on a sidewalk and we have parking meters and electrical lines. So I'll be debunking a lot of things for you as we kind of move throughout the night. All right, we're going to go this way.
Well, they got music in there.
Yeah, I know. I know. We can pop in there when we're done. If you want.
I get like lightheaded a lot, so now I'm gonna be creeped out when it happens.
It's probably natural gas leak.
Yeah, it sounds like mold. Natural gas leak. Oh no. I don't know what I'm supposed to be like looking at.
So, stop number 1. You guys to all think of your time with me, like I said earlier, kind of like a ghost hunting 101 class. So you all have different devices. Again, feel free to intermingle them among your party only. So don't intermingle because I do sanitize everything twice a day. But you're going to progress throughout the night. This one's very simple, so I can show you more about your devices. This is the big red barn where we keep the horses for your carriage ride. So you guys can probably smell them. I can't. I'm down here 7 nights a week. So the history here is very simple. It's a one-liner. I did that on purpose so we can actually talk more about your gear. This is the same red barn that actually held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Very simple, right? So let's talk about the spirit boxes, because we have 2 of them in play tonight. Yes, 2 of them in play. Spirit boxes, this is not television, this is not a Ouija board. This is not, is somebody here? Because that's what everybody wants to ask, right? So if somebody says no, that means somebody's here. Yes and no questions all night long. You guys are all here, whether you're skeptics or not, for some kind of paranormal proof, and you're not going to get it from yes and no questions like what they do on television. So, in a space like this, I would normally say, we're not going to spend a lot of time here. This is just so I can show you your devices and we'll move on. I would say ask a question you already know the answer to, like what color is the big red barn? Obviously, we're going to be looking and listening for the color red. So, in the event that the color red is not available to a DJ or song weird at the time you're asking the question, something might come through like fire truck, blood, heart. Those 3 things are specifically red. I would take that as an acceptable answer. It actually, human heart, actually came through on the spirit box last night. So I was kind of in this space. So it was kind of like right on cue. So with that said, I would take that as a specific answer. What color is the big red barn? Blood. I'm good. However, most of the night, I'm going to require that there are 2 things actually happening to be able to verify what's going on, and to be able to call it paranormal. For example, let's say Janique's word list has the word art on it. Okay, that doesn't mean anything by itself. But then John over here, here's the number 40. Again, nothing by itself. But you put them together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's football team. Does that make sense now, how we're going to be putting these clues together? Again, it's all about clues. A lot of the times tonight, I'm going to say, that's kind of vague, or let's wait for a secondary clue to verify it. And I won't reveal certain things on purpose, because I don't want to get your hopes up and put subliminal messaging in your head. So I do withhold information purposely so everybody has a genuine experience. So let's kind of keep that in mind as we go through each space. As far as the cameras go, we'll start with Amelia because you got yours first. So you've already seen that blue dot bouncing around, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to try to do 2 things for us. You're going to try to keep one of us in view, even though I said you're going to keep outsiders out of view. They don't like to be filmed. So keeping us in view basically gives you an array of color. So that way it's much easier to see those blue and black spots moving or taking shape on their own. So you should always be kind of in the middle of the crowd, or if you're filming from a distance, make sure there's a person in view. We're going to be the warmest thing out here. That's the reason why. The second thing you're going to try to do is keep the sky out. The reason being is because that blue dot will default to the blue sky, the empty sky, looking for a surface. There's no surface. So again, it's going to be difficult to do that in some spaces. Just try your best. Always try to keep people in and sky out. That's your job of the night, Sarah.
Yes.
I'm so excited that you guys are so stoked. Like I can feel the energy like bouncing off of you. And I hate using the term energy, but this is literal energy coming from you guys. So
he's so stoked. I'm just nervous now. Okay.
With your particular camera, again, with it being as big and bulky as it is, again, Andy's coming pointed straight down. But I'm also going to point out something else, that there's another light on here that we don't use. So it is night vision.
Okay.
I don't use night vision specifically because it draws attention from the other tours. The other tours will always come by and say, "What's he got you doing now? What's you know that stuff isn't real, you know," and they don't know that you're getting the data back tomorrow morning. So with yours, it's all about the slower the movements, the better. When there's more people on the tour, I actually use laser grids to be able to determine the motion coming through your particular camera. So again, we don't have those extra people here tonight, obviously, because we're at 5. But normally that's what I would do, is you would be paired up with the laser grid person, and they would literally be pointing lasers at the ground, and you would be filming through them, hoping something's going to go through the lasers for us to see it. So with it, you know, just kind of going naked the way that it is, we're basically going to be looking a lot for orbs and things coming through, anomaly shapes that I can't identify coming through the camera. So the slower the movements, the much easier it's going to be to identify those movements.
Where should I be pointing this?
It's your tour. You point wherever you want to. Just no filming of cars.
Okay.
Let's talk about your REM pod.
Yeah.
Let's pull up the antenna that I had out earlier. Nope, not the yellow one. The yellow one. There you go. Now flip the device around to the back. There's a little lid back there. You're going to lift it this way. You got it. There's 2 little white buttons back there. The one closer to the edge is the one you want. So click that into the device. Perfect. So it's going to go off with your movement. It's super bright. Sorry, I should have warned you.
It's okay.
It's very bright. Now, every time you move around, it's going to go off.
Okay.
So there's a reset button. Right where your thumb is, there's 4 buttons. You
Yeah.
need the bottom one. Keep your thumb on the bottom one pretty much all night long. Every time you click that, every time it goes off, you should reset it. Just
Okay.
so that way, and then stand still as possible. So I know it's going to be hard for you to do because you've been kind of bouncing around since we met. So with that said, sorry. This is why I have you guys show up early.
Yeah,
so I
call
get a
how
feel
you
for
see it,
everybody.
man.
So with that, again, keep clicking it all the time. If it goes back to the same color, obviously we have something going on with motion. These 2 devices, like the antenna and your screen, work independently. They don't need, you might have a reading
noticed
here.
that.
So you might have a reading on one and not the other. So again, there are 2 different types of EMF fields being generated.
What number am I looking at right here if we go above again?
2.5.
2.5. I got it. Okay.
Got it.
Cool.
All right.
So now I'm going to turn that off.
Yeah. And I'll let you know when to turn it back on again. There you
Boom.
go. You got it.
Snap.
Look at him. He's all over it. Love it. Have you heard anything yet?
I can hear like a bunch of stuff, but I can't make anything out.
Okay. So again, it's not an easy task. You will get better as the night goes on. That is probably the hardest job out here. I have another spirit box that I just got. It doesn't record, which is why we're not using it. But it is allegedly taking out all of the white noise and is only supposed to spit out words. So far, what I found in the past 2 weeks since I've had it is that it basically gives us about 12 terms per night, only in a 2-hour time frame. Those 12 terms, about 75% of them are accurate to the space. However, it is very difficult for the person to hear it because it comes in such long intervals. You might go 10 to 15 minutes without hearing anything, and all of a sudden something pops up out of it. So unless they're super paying attention, they miss out on it. So I normally pair them up with the thermal imaging because that records audio as well. So that way, in case they missed it, we can listen to it in the recording and kind of see what we missed out on. So again, most of your devices have an accompaniment to kind of go along with it. So that's kind of the way I have this set up. But I wanted to focus on the recordable devices. Are you guys ready to dive into much deeper history than football players and ponies? All right. He's like, yeah, let's do that.
I can smell the poop now.
Yeah, right?
You couldn't before?
No, I couldn't. Just got me. Gotta keep one of them in front.
He said wherever.
Oh, that's right.
Get a reading.
I didn't.
Oh.
Jeez. Ow. Are you okay? Sorry guys, you have like 2 extra kids on the tour here.
That's good.
One's scared, one's really clumsy.
Right. Welcome to another beautiful space in Charleston. We're in a parking lot. Good job. So, in the event you guys can't find a parking space by the time I'm done with you, I can't help you. Like, we're going to hit some lots. So, spirit boxes, both of you, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse in this space. You will get the answers from your spirit boxes. So, what the heck is this space? This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. So their mansion actually sat in the front of this space, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across. And then the servant and slave quarters were in the back of the space.
34.5, 40.5,
Wow.
11.1.
What was that?
11.1. It was 40. Now it's 11.
34.1 and 40.1?
Yeah, and then I'm back down to 11.
Okay. So at this point, I want you to give me
4.6, 4.2.
anything above, we'll just say 20 at this point, because I don't want to write down a million numbers. I want
Gotcha.
to see it progress. So the fact that we're getting already 40, I haven't had a 40 reading here in probably 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
All
pretty
right.
good stuff.
We're going to try to bring out the dead, you know what I mean?
Let's hope.
Like it.
Oh my gosh, stop saying that.
So let's get into what this space actually is. So Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. Do you guys see why I look for secondary clues now? We need to know who the hell we're talking to. So again, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution. It's a pretty big deal for us South Carolinians.
That's super cool.
That live here, but I hate politics more than you. We're gonna move on. So Eliza, she married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. not the colonial times that she came from. So if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, it's not going to be like 12 and 14, just so you know. The reason I bring this up is because Charles, her husband, was over double her age when they married. It's a pretty big age gap between the two of them. But she married him because her father over in England thought he was dying. And he was trying to bring all of his kids home so he could see him one last time. Eliza didn't think he was dying, so she stayed put and got married instead. Now, this is 1744, so there's no such thing as marrying for a green card or for citizenship because we're not even a country yet. At that point, Dad gets better, and he starts sending her apologetic gifts to this space of right where we're standing. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. You're the only one wearing it tonight. So. That's how we still use it today. She didn't know what to do with these seeds when she got them, so she had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. So once she figured it out, she moved it to a plantation just north of here, calls her dad over in England, not really because it's the 1740s, and says, hey, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo. We now have an international businesswoman during colonial times, something absolutely unheard of in this country. So with that, that's Eliza's business. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are all here, right? So Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. If you want to find out which Eliza we're dealing with, ask what her maiden name is. Reason being is both Elizas, ironically, have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. That's all I'm going to tell you. I know. Weird facts that I find out. Let's see. The mansion's not here anymore. We can ask what happened to it. Obviously, it's gone. And then if we get... Notice these are very specific questions. Eliza's children. There's more than one. I told you one already, Charles, right? Center of the Constitution. You can ask what their names are and basically how many there were. The reason being is because there was a tragedy among those children. We don't want to poke the bear. If we poke the bear too much, our 40-point whatevers on the Gauss meter over there are going to go away. So I've seen it happen a dozen times. Let's not poke the bear and ruin the tour for everybody. Again, I've seen it dozens of times because somebody gets too curious. So names and how many. That's it on the kids. As far as Eliza's death, that's where she's really, really open. We can ask her how old she was when she died, where she's buried, what she died from, and what U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Again, very specific things. And of course, there's clues around all of these answers that we can identify. Granted, we have a verifier for them. So, we're going to spread out in this space. We're going to not film cars. We're not going to go near cars, basically. We're not going to go in between them. Again, most of the cars in here are going to belong to employees that work downtown, and they sometimes will take their break in their vehicles. We should basically all be looking where John is going because he's going to know where the spikes are, even though he's standing right in the middle of one, apparently, where it went all the way to 40. Just so everybody has a gist on that specific reading, your television set has a lot of wires behind it. That's about a 40 to 60 milligauss reading, depending on how many things you have plugged in. Your microwave running on high goes to 150 if you're standing outside of it, so about 150 to 170. In this space, 2.5, 3 weeks ago, we had a 214. That's the highest I've ever seen that device go. Again, yeah, on your device. Like, I had to step away. I have epilepsy. I don't need that kind of influence. So again, I had to basically stand 10 feet away from the guy and say, how are you feeling? Are you doing okay? Is it still that high? And he was ranging in the high 100s, so like 170s to 190s for about, I don't know, I'd say about a minute to a minute and a half, and then it would drop down to zero. Like it was nothing. Never happened. It was the craziest thing ever. So let's get that REM pod going for sure. That's your motion sensor. So the white button first, then the antenna. I'm sorry, the antenna first, then the white button. I got that reversed. I want to see your word list before we start spreading out. So what you do on that is you hit the little white box next to it, and I'll be able to see everything that's popped up. So far, I've got nothing. So reverse it back, so it takes you back to the main screen. And we're gonna like this so much because it gives us timestamps. It kind of lets me know where to listen to the audio, where to watch the video, in case something does come up wrong. So yeah, love this guy. I've been using it for years, and it's very relevant every single night. So, yeah, let's spread out in here. And again, intermix those devices. You have a second earbud, so if she wants to listen in with you, or somebody else wants to listen in, by all means do so. You just have to keep your heads closed, spread the wires apart.
And ask questions.
Ask questions, literally, out loud, like you're having a conversation.
30s, 20s, 30.
I know, it's not easy. So what was that last one?
32.7, 35. Yeah, hope it gets real crazy.
I don't know why I hang out with this person. Like, I was like, can we just do a regular one where they tell me stories?
Like, if they actually seek people who are like open, I'm like, oh, about it, man.
Yeah. So again, with your camera, it's not always going to be an in-the-moment thing. It's all about the review on that guy. So what I like about this one is that it'll continuously record. The last one, we were literally having to stop it every 2 minutes to let it kind of reset for a second and then restart it. We were only getting about 20 minutes of footage.
So this upper right?
Has reset after about 10.5 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like it, I didn't know if
what
that
it's
was
doing is
supposed to be
it's
happening.
creating new files.
Okay.
The files are giant from a GoPro.
Okay.
So what it's doing is it's just generating a new file so that way it doesn't get too big, over 4 gigs. And what I
do, make sure I didn't like.
I splice them all together and compress them down so they go to YouTube, and that way you guys can watch them however you want to.
Okay.
So
my little brother's gonna get a kick out of this. Like, I'll tell you.
it's recording audio too. So if we get any kind of like regular EVPs that we wouldn't normally be able to hear, you can use both videos as an EVP audio at the same time. So it's kind of like we have 3 points of audio, and then 2 spirit boxes running right now. So answers can go anywhere.
Okay.
But yeah, you should basically be following him and seeing if he's getting any motion, and you definitely want to be filming him when he has like his crazy lights going on.
Okay.
So John, with your colors on there, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a bunch of colors on those LEDs. So a lot of times what I'll do with that, I just want to show you, watch your eyes. See how different they are, there's purple and blue.
Oh, yeah.
So what a lot of times what I'll do with that guy is I'll ask for a specific color. If Eliza, if you're here, can you make this box go to blue? You know, I usually ask for a color in the middle, so that way it kind of, that way she knows exactly what color she needs to go to.
Blue or orange.
Right. So again, I usually go with blue with Eliza just because it's indigo. So yeah. So that's the reason I use that. How are we doing on that spirit box now? I'm at the one you're listening to.
We're just getting random words.
Yeah.
Like what? No matter how silly you think it might be.
I can't remember. It's just
No,
record.
but I asked the
It's-
question, when I asked the question in 1 of 8, I asked like, what was the name of one of
One of the slaves
the
or something.
slaves.
Oh, well that I can't prove, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it very well may be true, I just can't prove it.
What was the 2 ladies' names of interest here?
Eliza.
Eliza. That's right.
Eliza L. Eliza L.
That's right. Exactly. Eliza L. Pinkney. They were both Eliza L.
Anxiety.
Pinkneys. You heard anxiety? Okay.
Maybe that's coming from me.
You want to switch?
I'm not supposed to film cars.
Eliza, what does it smell like out here? I wonder if they got shit anywhere on there.
Was that even a word? Like, she was probably a proper lady. She probably didn't use
Shite.
that word.
Shite.
Goodness.
Poop. Garbage. Rotten food. Weird.
Just like,
Started going nuts and went to like 30 something.
and then stopped.
I've seen some colors. Colors that you get.
Oh, it got all the way to purple.
So at this point, I'm just excited about like anything above 40 at this point because I have like a million numbers. Okay. So above 40. We'll see if we can get it above 40. And Janaik, at this point, now that I know you can actually hear it, I'm only going to be writing down the things that are relevant moving forward, unless it's something on the ice right here.
We paid money to do work.
Stop recording.
Shoot, sorry. I mean, I don't care. I think it's awesome.
You're like, I'd do
No
it.
hard feelings, bro. It was awesome. Come on, go screw.
Then reset it. Got it. Perfect.
Eliza, make this thing go to 239 and show me some red.
Oh my gosh.
Please, ma'am.
Maybe next time.
These 4 people are going to have just a recording of you. This whole night. did he say when I'm supposed to drop this down? Like,
Whenever there are people around.
there are people.
Or
Oh.
when he says something about here comes Andy.
Oh, okay. I was like, what does that mean? So that's his code word for drop it? Is it beeping at something? Like, what's the reading say? What's it say? I can't read the number. It looks like bullshit.
And I know that if people hear it enough, you know, like, all right, something is going down. Chill, have some water, you know, probably have smoke and relax. So, Rocky? I'll write this down. We never know. Yeah, you never know.
Oh, that's the word, maybe.
Oh, see? Now I'm like, nah, that's not happening. Maybe.
Yeah.
That thing is going nuts for him. I'm glad he's having a blast.
Overgrown child. Like, he's like, I'm going to walk a grid.
We're going to give you spirit boxes another minute before I reveal all the answers here. Get you guys, because again, I'm not going to leave you hanging.
I find the city absolutely amazing. Every piece of architecture, every sidewalk.
Where are you guys from?
Yeah, it's just
Trouble? Did you hear trouble? I wasn't paying attention. We're from Ottawa, Ontario.
Oh, awesome. Very cool.
You guys are Nebraska, right? You have a
I'm
Nebraska
from Nebraska. And
Where are you from?
Nebraska, and then
Oh.
living in Kansas City right now, and he's a South Carolinian.
Gotcha.
So, you know,
South Carolinian.
South Carolinian. Is that proper? Is that the
Yep.
right way to say that?
Exactly
Okay.
right. South
I've-
Carolina.
I got to go to Canada for work the other year and
Meditation. I heard meditation. Oh, meditation.
Oh.
I don't know.
to Calgary and got to see Banff, and it was like I was like I want to go back to Canada. There's like
Medication shows up here.
beautiful, like so pretty. You said medication?
Medication. Medicine, medication. Like I'll usually hear one or the other. Hopefully we get another tie that'll show you why that shows up.
He's over there by himself. Yeah, I was like, you've got this person, and then I'll just talk the whole night if you don't like keep us under control. He'll just be, and the like jitteriness
There's
is
only
like.
5 of you. I think I can handle it. I used to manage over 400 people, and would have meetings with my 400.
How long have you been doing this?
The tours, I've been doing it for about 3 years now, but I've been ghost hunting for about 10.
You just got some lights, I think.
So,
For
wow.
10?
Yeah, about 10 years.
What was that?
Purple and red.
Was there a number?
Number wasn't very high, but it was like so fast.
All right, let's head back over this way. Let's get you guys some answers, because we have a couple of times.
It said careful?
They said careful.
I don't know if that's what they said or not.
I think she's telling her to be careful.
They said medication
Figure it
came
out.
up.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm super stoked, obviously, about the readings that we've gotten from there, because I haven't seen readings that high in a few days, we'll just say. So I'm pretty stoked about those readings for certain.
Good.
The colors that you had, obviously purple and going to red, I was pretty stoked about that. We don't get a whole lot of reds here, so
Yeah.
it's very uncommon. To
Well, I
see
got
reds.
read about 5 times over there. I just didn't know I was supposed to tell you
Yeah.
because the numbers weren't high. So my
Doesn't
bad.
matter. Again, they work independently. So one's creating an EMF field and the other one's measuring it. So they're just two different types of EMF
Oh.
fields, so you don't get false
So I got
positives.
red. All right. Towards the front, not much. Over there, I don't know if you know the layout of the house. Right there was a bunch of stuff, and then like kind of right there. So if
Again.
we know the layout of the property, which I don't know if you
The
looked at it.
middle, if it was lined up over here, like with that little cement pad over there, that's where Eliza's garden was.
Okay.
So
Yeah, there and then right there. Whatever
discovered-
was right there.
So let's look at the answers. I'll show you guys what's actually happened here. So first thing I like to show off.
Green?
What was it?
Green?
Ooh, you just said garden.
Green?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have anything for that. I do carry a trigger object in my bag. I honestly forgot to bring it out tonight because this is relatively new too. But I carry a little vial of indigo seeds, the ones that actually make blue dye. So again, this has actually been helping bring some of the answers back to, bring them to light a little bit. But at least it's with me, you know what I mean? So it's not like I forgot to hand it out, but it's a matter of, oh my God, it's still with me. So, the mansion. We didn't hear anything relevant to the mansion, but that's the first thing that I start off with. So while I'm getting this tablet set up to show you the picture pages, Eliza Lucas Pinckney was the wife that planted the indigo. The first wife was Eliza Lamb Pinckney. So Lamb and Lucas were the names you were looking for there. This is Eliza Lucas. This is the one that we were obviously trying to get a hold of. Obviously prominent English woman, blue dress signifying the indigo. So again, I know it's a painting, but I at least like for you guys to know what the heck she looked like. This is where you're standing right now. This is the only photograph of the mansion we have. This is after the fire damage from the Great Fire of 1861. Happened on December 11th, and we do get things key around that. So if we get the word fire or hot or flame, something along those lines, we normally get one of the numbers of 12, 11, or 61. So again, we normally will get another relation to verify that. Now, every tour guide is going to tell you about a great fire of whatever year it happened in. By the way, the two of you can cut your video at this point. Yours is the circle all the way to the right, and then yours is going to be the red square. That way you guys can kind of relax a little bit, kind of give the cameras a break. Growl and make stupid noises, I just turn it down because all we need is the words, right? So, but the residual ghost is kind of like watching a movie on loop. We're still right in the middle of that loop where I normally capture evidence. So here's what I'm going to have you guys do. The spirit boxes, I want you guys listening for and watching for names. So I'm not going to play any more subliminal tricks on you, I promise. I'm not going to tell you what gender of names either that are going to hopefully pop through. But let me know what you hear once we enter the alley. This alley is about 3 blocks from here, which means you're going to be walking on East Bay Street. You can ignore your readings. The parking meters are going to make it go off. We don't get false positives, and they're not following us around. As far as those of you that are on your cameras, we're not going to record on East Bay Street, so you'll actually stop it as we walk. So you could probably listen in with Mom. That way you guys can listen in together. But we'll start the videos again once we enter the lodge alley space. So again, we're going to be going 3 blocks. We don't need everybody's butts walking behind. Not to mention it's really hard to watch. We're wasting footage at that point when I can cut right to the next location. So let's head up to the next spot. Let's see what we can capture. But yeah, stop those videos and kind of take a break.
Oh, you said that earlier?
Yeah, we went and had dinner down there and we walked by there, so I was like, ooh.
You're like, oh, yeah. Try not to get us yet.
I have to say these neighbors are original.
Yeah.
They were probably fast. The shits that we got before back to
Right where we hear any other names besides George? Any other names come up on yours?
Glass. It's been there for
Glass. So when we crossed that last crosswalk where I actually stopped us instead of just crossing waiting for the green light to go, that's where the original Charlestown wall used to be. So now we're standing on one of the first streets of Charleston. So that's why I like to bring you down here. Other tours don't always come down here, so it's kind of our own little space. The reason I ask for names is because people used to live down here. I don't know if you guys noticed, but my voice kind of quieted down in this space. That's a hotel. There could be somebody in that room. We don't spend a ton of time here, but I do like to explain a lot of things. So if I go through this pretty quickly, just ask me to slow down.
Is your thing on?
Yeah, that doesn't ring a bell. Now, the reason why I ask for names is because I have that full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. Now, when I say that people live down here, I'm only talking like 2 to 6 people at a time. So, again, just kind of scattered throughout the alley. The names I commonly get are Benjamin and John. Now, John obviously being very common, considering we have 2 of them here tonight. But the John that we have, he will give us his last name as well, Johnson. Yes, his name was John Johnson. So, both of those gentlemen lived here in 1801. Do I have anything specific about 1801 that actually occurred here? I don't. But I get those same 2 names every 6 to 7 weeks. It's almost on cue. I just can't judge when it's going to come. We've been getting Ben and John all week long. So again, I'm right at the edge where I'm about to start that loop over again because I won't hear it for another 6 to 7 weeks. here's why I think it's happening. You're standing on Belgian blocks. These are made purely of granite. You guys all seem like you're into the paranormal, at least watch the television shows. You've heard the term limestone before, right? It stirs up activity because it's straight from the earth. Granite, when it's in the same place, it kind of falls into the stone tape theory. This has been here for hundreds of years. So it's hanging on to the consciousness of memories and stirring it up and playing it on a loop over and over and over again.
Names or other words?
Sometimes other words make sense too. What do you think? Would help? So I did find a newspaper clipping of 2 women that got into an argument here, and they both got arrested. So I don't know if that help has anything to do with it from Lodge Alley, but again, it's kind of vague. They did do an archaeological dig underneath these bricks. They found some of the tools and silverware, that kind of thing. They were able to analyze it that they were actually lower class people. They put the bricks back, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But the lower class thing makes sense because the other side of the Charlestown Wall would have been across the street on East Bay Street. So the smell of low tide would be coming through here all the time. The rich of Charleston are not going to put up with that. If you've been down to the Battery, you've noticed that the houses are skinny in front and go long back. They're that way for 2 reasons. First off, it keeps the smell of low tide out. We have piazzas here. That's a front porch with a door. So the door stops the smell of low tide from coming in. They open up their 2nd-story window, and the cool air from the water comes in and actually air conditions the house because cool air drops and hot air rises. So old school air conditioning. The second reason they're skinny in the front is because they were taxed based on how much street side they took. So the skinnier the house, the less taxes you pay. Now the Pinckney Mansion that we just left sat broad against East Bay Street. They're outside the city walls for one. They were obviously some kind of politician all living there. Plus, Alexander lived here in 1855. So we'll see if that pops up a second time to be able to verify. Or the number 55. So again, very interesting. There's a lot of double names in here. John Johnson, Alexander, and there's one other one, I can't remember what it is. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. Like, I'm stoked about that, along just as much as I was about this reading of the Pinckney Mansion. Enormous? Yeah, nothing enormous in here. They're little tiny houses. But the Pinckneys, their house was broad because it was bragging rights. They didn't care about the taxes. They had money, they're going to pay them. So that's just kind of how that went down. Before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here. So that's where it gets its name from, Lodge Alley. So we do get terms wrapped around the Freemasons, obviously the word Freemason, Mason, and I've even had the term Illuminati showed up 6 times last year and twice so far this year. First off, who the hell's talking about the Illuminati on the radio? Second, why am I only hearing it in this space? So again, take that for what it's worth. We are going to go through the rest of this alley. The next place we're going to go to is another alley, but I cannot take you through it. Here's why.
Yeah, my granddad was pilot.
I got booted out of that next alley. You guys are on the annoying tour. You have your blinky lights and your noisemakers. So at the end of that alley, it is considered residential. So I got caught one night. I will tell you all about that once we go to that space. That's the fun part of the whole story because it is relevant to the next story. But I will take us to the outside of it because it still stirs up a ton of activity. As we exit this alley, we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. So you're going to shut off both videos as we exit. We don't record in neighborhoods. So once we get to the next space, I'll kind of place the 2 of you, like where we get the best footage through that alley of the next spot, and then we'll kind of take it from there. Spirit Box is definitely listening in. You're still probably going to have some false positives coming through, so we'll kind of see how that goes until the next space. Okay. But if you get anything in here, anything above 4, I would say in this space, would probably be definitely relevant.
But this space? Like
Lodge Alley.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I'm at with this one. Because we're going to get a lot of stuff from the buildings, so I usually go to anything much higher, and it's going to be quick. I don't want it to be very steady and stay on your screen for a long time. Otherwise, it's going to be just something man-made. So let's get through the rest of this alley and head on to the next one. Hit the fun stories, right?
Zig, zag.
I like these plants that are growing. You what? So pretty here. Beep, 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 beep. Stop.
False positives back in
It's just beeping.
This is the neighborhood.
Is this it? Look at these pretty houses.
This is cool.
That's so neat. We got like a perfect little crescent moon up there. Do you see it?
Yeah, I've been looking at it for a while, actually. The moon hangs like the blade of an axe tonight.
I'm gonna wait till he tells us to turn
What?
on.
That's
About a song.
through being cool saves the day. I bet he listens to Saves the Day. I think we're about the same age. Oh yeah. Yeah, it is. Pull my cameras down.
Did. So again, perfect. So again, you're holding a cell phone, so perfectly fine. So
Yeah, it's on.
yep, you're blinking. I already checked it out. I'm on it. So this is Philadelphia Alley. We're actually allowed to tour about halfway through this, like halfway down. But again, it's not fair because the other tours are actually go all the way up to 20 people, where I only go to 10. We're trying to investigate a space. It's not fair for us to go 10 people around 20 to 40. So that's why I tell the story out here, because we're going to get, evidence from this story through the rest of the night. Like, that's how this one works. It's a little crazy. So this used to be called Jeweler's Alley. This is where the jewels used to occur for the city of Charleston, which is why I got you guys filming down there to see if anything's actually going to pop up. So here's this. We all tell the same story. So mine's a little bit. I tell it differently because you're ghost hunting. It's not just a ghost story. So there's going to be a lot of word clues in here. So there's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because his fiancée Amanda, and yes, I know we got the name Amanda on that word list earlier, but we were too far away for it to be relevant here. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. You guys already heard, hundreds of dollars. So I was kind of like, okay, we'll see if something else pops up around that. She has an attorney helping her out with this cash flow, and the attorney thinks that the doctor's just after her money. Bank? More money terms. So, sorry guys, my nose is super itchy. My wife must be talking about me. But at any rate, I know, it's been itchy all night though.
That means you're going to kiss a fool.
That means you're about to come into money.
No, that's itchy palm.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Nose itchy is somebody.
I know what that means.
I thought that was ringing and never mind. Okay.
Back to the doctor,
Back to the
everybody.
story.
Jeez.
Got completely distracted.
Talking about superstition on a ghost tour. Come on.
Bunch of weirdos.
I know, right?
Inherent.
Inherit?
Inherent.
Oh. I thought you said inherit. I was all stoked. I'm like, that's a great one.
Told you, itchy nose, man.
Itchy nose. All right. I lost track of where the hell I was. So, the doctor, the attorney's telling Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So the doctor, to prove that he's not just after her cash, he moves to Charleston. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody walking by with the name of Ralph Isaacs, and I'm going to stop there because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. R.I. shows up here all the time. If we don't get the I, we at least get the R. However, we always need that secondary clue, so that way we know exactly who it belongs to, which main character. But Ralph tells the doctor, you don't want to stay here. He's got a gunman inside, he's going to try to kill you. It's like, I got some friends at 59 Church Street that'll rent you a room and you'll be safe and good to go. The doctor takes him up on the offer, and Dr. Ladd and Ralph become friends. So, the doctor's practice takes off. He's making his own money now. Amanda's moving down soon. He's proving his point. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. I'm going to stop there. Every haunted city you all will ever visit in the future will have a cliched whistling ghost. Ours is a doctor. Just go with it. So, it's a joke, everybody. You're supposed to chuckle. Now, with that, the doctor and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the way the hierarchy went. He gets better seats. So they talk about these plays on the way home. One night they go see William III from Shakespeare, and the doctor thought the new actress in town was fantastic.
Doctor.
get it here all the time. I'm going to remind me to write that one down. They started arguing over this actress. The doctor thought she was great. Ralph, not so much. It gets even more heated when Ralph starts insulting Amanda, the doctor's fiance, back home in Rhode Island. So they go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. He goes to his friends at the newspaper, and he puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. The doctor sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they come down, they take their 10 paces.
It's escalated quickly.
Yeah, I know. I try to get to the good stuff.
No, I just meant like, geez, guys,
I know.
talk it out.
So they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened in a duel. Ralph has his one shot. Sorry, John. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So the doctor doesn't die either, but Ralph proved his point that he's still pissed off. So the doctor's friends pick him up. They carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. He was a doctor. He probably tried to bleed out the bullet himself. Now, they say as you walk through the alley, you can actually hear the whistles from the doctor. Now, even outside of here, I've had songs come through with just whistling. Guns N' Roses' Patience. Whatever that Maroon 5 song is with the whistling in it. Like, it comes through here all the time, and I'm never looking for it. It just happens. It's just one of those pieces. Now, if you guys are going to go down there on your own without me, because obviously I've been booted out, and you turn on your voice recorders listening for whistles, keep in mind all the locals know the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street on the other side throws a whistle down the alley every single time. I do it every night on my way back to my garage, which is right there. We end over there. So again, I pass the alley. Me and my daughter will race to see who's going to throw the whistle first. She just doesn't know that I can throw a whistle while I'm talking. So again, I'm usually quicker, and I win every night when she's here. So just keep in mind when you're going through there, there's a lot of hecklers that are going to try to do it. And I always do it when there's another tour down there, especially since I got booted out. So let's talk about that, right? Because that's the fun part. Again, it's residential at the end. I would used to take my tours all the way through down to the end. Reason being is because this alley didn't always come all the way through to Cumberland Street. The bricks at the other side are older. Those were sun-dried bricks from slave children. It would always show off a handprint and a couple of fingerprints that were left in the bricks from those slave kids. Everybody wants to put an EMF meter or a spirit box or something near one of those bricks. However, especially the handprint, because there's only one of them. I treat that the same way I do a grave. You're not going to hang out, and that kid's not staring at that brick in the afterlife. So, one night, November 26, 2020, my group is all huddled around that one brick, and it's right outside a gentleman's dining room window. He was not pleased. He came out, started screaming. My daughter thought it was hilarious, because Dad's getting yelled at. So the next night was November 27th of 2020. That was Thanksgiving that year, so I did not tour. The next night after that, or the next morning, on November 28th, I got a phone call from the tourism office asking me to go down halfway like everybody else or reroute my tour, which is where we're going tonight. I told my team that night, we're going to wing it, because I can only do so much research in one day. And I didn't even believe the story. We're going to be discussing pirates. It was not my thing. I'm a vampire guy through and through, so pirates are not my thing. Before I even tell them what we're going to be getting into, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I've been in that place dozens of times. I never had any pirate lore come through on any spirit boxes or anything before. So we get there, I tell them what I know, and somebody else hears the number 300. What was it? Brother. Somebody else hears 300. I have no idea what 300 is. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. This is stuff I cannot make up.
You know the new Anne Bonny's?
Yeah.
My brother opened that. He's with the he works with the Prohibition group.
Okay.
Yeah, tomorrow night they're doing the big they're doing all the media stuff for the grand opening. If anyone wants to go. So.
And wait a minute.
You just heard brother.
Yes.
Well, and you were talking about...
Oh, man!
That's what you weren't listening to.
What? His name's Will. Oh. Yeah, my brother's doing... Yeah.
Well, what I thought was you were saying pirate, and you always told me, like, you guys had pirate stuff in your family. And you said pirate, and then you said brother, like, as you were talking about pirates. And I was like...
That's very cool. Yeah.
I don't know.
So this ought to be very interesting once we go up there.
Great.
So as the next space we're going to go to, I still want you guys looking at your spirit boxes and listening, and you're going to let me know what you hear once we get around the corner. There's like 15 stories on this corner. I kind of let the evidence at this point take over if something's going to occur, because there is so much going on that corner. If you guys don't give me anything that's relevant, I'll go into my normal go-to stories and get us prepped for this crazy Anne Bonny story, and this way you can learn a little something before going to visit the place. So I don't know how long you're going to be in town for this grand opening, but who knows. But yeah, this is a kind of a crazy corner we're going into, and again, normally we're like fighting for space as far as tours. It gets very busy up there, but it just seems like nobody's touring tonight besides me, which is super great, right? Yeah.
That's part of why we were like, let's do it tonight. Maybe it won't be nuts.
Yeah, I was hoping for
It's
10,000 people.
It's an Irish pirate themed tiki bar.
You had me in Irish.
Irish pirate tiki, all of those.
Gwen Bonnie was Irish, I think, wasn't she?
I don't remember.
She was Irish.
They talked about the history. We did the tour up in historical Williamsburg, and they talked about Edward Teach and. Was she one of his ladies?
No.
No. She was with another bro. Different pirate bro.
No, she was a pirate.
Oh, that's right. I
She's
remember
like
hearing
the
that.
most famous female pirate of all time. So she doesn't get enough. That's all it is. Coming in this year. And Bonnie was the pirate.
Okay.
Smell like.
Did you hear later? Yeah, down the road, that shit popped up on their word thing.
Oh yeah, it's funny.
Like a couple blocks later after you said that. Oh, look at the church steeple. I can't see it on here. What is St. Philip's tea room? Can we go? I don't know.
No, it's not.
But I would like to go to that tea room.
I want to stop us here for just a second, and before I have you guys kind of chill and sit down, I'd like to point out the wall over this courtyard. It's the wall to Philadelphia Alley that we were just discussing. There's a gate right in the middle of it. That gate, it was for when there were losers to the duel. It was a shortcut to bring the dead body to the cemetery behind me this way. Otherwise, remember, the alley didn't go all the way through. They'd have to go all the way down to Queen and come back down around with a dead weight, and that would actually just stall them from getting to go celebrate the winner. So again, but yeah, I call it the death gate, and it always, the wrought iron gate on there is always locked. I don't think a whole lot of people know why that gate is actually there. So I know, crazy stuff. But go ahead and have a seat. We're going to chill here for a minute. You're going to tell me if you've heard anything else besides struggles. Any words come up
Can you
on
hold
yours?
this for a second?
Man.
Can you hold this?
Cheer.
What are you doing?
What's that sweatshirt on?
You gonna put it on?
Tie it tighter or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it.
Inside, I'm like chilly, but I'm not.
Every ghost tour in town, and that's it.
Here, I'll take it back.
This is where you guys get a break. And you guys hate me to go to work. Advice is, and I'm giving you a break. That's kind of how this goes.
You might hear that.
He's like, but I'm excited.
I was like, man, we paid $55 to work for this guy. This is awesome.
I think about it every single night.
I'm having fun. I'll do it again.
Yeah,
This is
it's
great.
fun.
Oh, thanks, guys.
It's different, very different.
We're only, we've got more to do.
No,
Oh, yeah.
The history's amazing.
More Ghost Hunting 101. This is where things are going to get a little bit weird. Every ghost tour in town will stop up at this cemetery because it's their big hurrah because they actually have something to show. I let them have it. So, there's two different sides to the cemetery. You're at St. Philip's Church, by the way, if anybody didn't know where you're at. There's an eastern side. If you're from Charleston, you can get buried on this side. So Charles Pinckney, Eliza's husband, is buried over here. We will get terms wrapped around him and the nephew while we're in this space. It's been happening more and more lately. The other side is... The other side is for everybody else.
That's what I heard. I was so scared.
It said, I was so scared.
Oh.
The other side is if you're not from here, you go to the other side. Our seventh vice president, John Calhoun, he's actually buried on the other side because they didn't know if he was supposed to, if he was from here or not. They actually shuffled his sarcophagus several times trying to figure out where the hell he was supposed to go. It turns out he's just lived here a long time. He goes over there. That side of the cemetery is usually open to the public during the daytime, so feel free to go visit. Again, I'm not an advocate for any of these spaces. I just want you guys to see more history. But every ghost tour stops on this side, right at that gate, because there's a sign right inside the gate that says there's no ghost at St. Philip's besides the Holy Ghost. They don't want jerks like me going up there trying to recreate what actually happened, right? So let me kind of get into what happened. 1888, a young lady died by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. Now, we just talked about initials with Ralph Isaacs. This is very cheesy, very campy, but I've seen it and heard it for myself. Sue Howard Hardy. Again, it comes up on spirit boxes, her initials pop up. A lot of times if I give the teenagers a spirit box, they don't listen to me, they're listening to the spirit box, and so somebody just shush me in the spirit box. I have to go out and turn. So again, it happens all the time for the initials. But anyway, she dies 6 days after her stillborn child. 1987. I know, that's the end of her story. Very abrupt death, right? You said before, like, wow, that was kind of like, that was the end of it. But 1987, 99 years later, a local photographer is taking pictures of all the cemeteries. He does capture a full apparition in one of his photographs. It's 1987, so if he doesn't know what to do with it, he can't debunk it. He doesn't have the tech we have. He sends it to Kodak. Kodak's where we had to send our pictures to get done. So, sorry, when I have the younger crowd, I feel like I need to explain.
They're like, what's that?
Yeah, they have no idea what Kodak is. Everything's digital for them. So Kodak doesn't know what to do with this photograph either. So for guys like me, this thing is gold. Like when I show this thing to you, it's very cool. However, it is cursed. Females that handle it, even in a digital format, same symptoms like what we talked about earlier. The headache, the nausea, the dizziness. Females that are pregnant, probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the stillborn part of the story. I'm not going to be the guy where somebody had a great vacation, and 9 months later I get a phone call that I cursed your family. Don't touch the tablet. That's kind of the whole big deal. So if something does show up around Sue Howard Hardy where I actually have to prove it to you, the link will have a warning on it. So just so you guys know, it will say warning cursed photo. Like, I'm very careful. This is what I do for a living. This is my occupation. So again, I take it very seriously. That's why we talk about safety at the very beginning of the tour. So I'm going to go down the line so everybody can kind of see the picture, because it is pretty crazy. Again, it's all part of your ghost hunting 101 lessons. As soon as I can get my tablet to flip. Come on. There we go. So this is the full picture that he took. Here is your apparition. You're looking at her back. These are her shoulders, the top of her head, with the baby basket next to her. It's like she's praying over her own grave.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That's, wow. Crazy. Did you see that, Sarah?
Yeah.
Those are her shoulders. This is her grave, and there's a baby basket next to her.
Stories are so
You can
sad.
see where that would raise a little bit of attention from the photographer, like what's going on there. Now this is also probably another instance where the baby's buried with mom, because I don't think we actually have a grave or a name for this child.
Sue Howard Hardy?
Yeah. So right now I'm trying to find out where Sue actually lived. The census records for that, like I have the husband's name because he obviously would have been the breadwinner for the house during those times. Those census records are a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Just for that one census. I'm like, of course, it's the one I'm actually looking for.
Did they count women in the census? Because they couldn't vote.
But I know who the husband is.
Okay.
So if I can find out who the husband is, I can find the address.
Okay.
Like, I have the name, Gaston Hardy. I just want to find out where they live, so I actually have that extra edge over the other tours that are just showing off the last finale thing. And normally, other tours, like, that's their last story. That's it for the night. They're done. Like, they have something to show. So, again, you guys have the gizmos and gadgets. Maybe because it is so slow tonight, after I'm getting us prepped for Pirates, maybe we'll go up and just get a little bit of footage of the cemetery, so you guys have that on your video cameras. So we'll kind of, let me get you prepped for that. So, do you guys see the burning gas lamp up in the distance down there? That's the pirate house. Can't miss it. It's got a big anchor on the front of it. Somebody does live there. Don't go in his backyard looking for ghosts. He also gets mad, and don't ask me how I know. Again, I'm the guy who makes people angry by ghost hunting near their houses. That's where Blackbeard's men used to come off their ships, have a place to stay, meet with a few ladies, and they dug a tunnel underneath the pirate house going 1 block away to Dock Street Theater. Dock Street Theater at the time was called Planters Hotel. It was a whorehouse, a playhouse, and a hotel. We're talking pirates, the whorehouse was an attraction. The playhouse. Pirates were our first stage games. They would actually go there to work in between bartering with our locals. The rumor had it that, a couple of rumors about that tunnel was that it went all the way out to White Point Garden. I find that a little hard to believe because that's a lot of digging. The other thing is that Blackbeard buried some of his treasure underneath there, and I call BS on that just because we all know that treasure's in North Carolina, not South Carolina. So again, Blackbeard he died in North Carolina, not down here. So he did spend a little bit of time here looking for medicine because he did have syphilis from one of his many wives. And he actually got the medicine he needed from the mayor, like he made a deal because they wanted him to stop raiding the city. So very interesting part of our Charleston history that Blackbeard actually spent a little bit of time here. But yeah, the pirate house is pretty cool stuff. So yeah, nobody's up at that cemetery, so let's go up and hang out for a few minutes and get some footage. You're still recording.
Yep.
We'll get your video recorder going, and we'll kind of see what kind of footage we can get out of it. We'll look at it on the review. So let's head over for a few.
Did you say Blackbeard? Like, how was the family related? You joked like that. The lady in your family was like one of his.
Must have been.
Must have been. Maybe they met here. Maybe this was their house.
Might be.
Sarah, I want you to bring your camera over here and just point it at this sign in front so that way everybody can read it on their video.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Because you're going to be able to see it through your camera
No ghost, but the Holy Ghost.
Just where you guys kind of have that little memento. This side is normally closed off to the public because they're always working on it. Not to mention rubbing is illegal in South Carolina. That's where you basically take a pencil or a piece of chalk, or a piece of paper, and do rubbings on the gravestones, so that way you can have the information.
Oh, wow,
It's illegal because it damages the stone. You do it so many times, it's going to wear it down.
The entire state?
The entire state of South Carolina, illegal. Trust me, I know. I visit a lot of cemeteries.
That's a good thing, though, I guess. A good thing it's illegal.
Yeah, it is. Very interesting to see that headstones and graves will actually show up as orange and yellow.
Have you ever done any of the investigative things up around like that super old cemetery in Southport? There's one right there. It says wow.
Yeah, email me that stuff because I keep like email folders by state.
Okay.
Because you guys email me stuff all the time from wherever people are from.
Okay.
So if I'm ever passing through there, because I do travel.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, from here it's what, 3.5 hours to get there? It's not far at all. Yeah.
Any words coming through over there, Janae?
This is a pretty church.
Can't hear me.
Static.
Static. That's the word you have?
No.
Oh.
That's just it.
Have you heard anything?
Just random, like not even full words, like some
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, that's
every look.
good. Yeah. Oh, look is good. Oh, by the way, that light over there off to the left is pointed right at the sign on purpose to try to deter photographers from trying to recreate that photo again.
Oh.
So, again, if you notice, it's a lot different than the lights from the city, which are in the back. That is a light that the church put in to try to deter people like me.
Wild. So is this the grave right here?
The grave is actually a little bit further back. I want to say it's off to the right.
Okay.
Again, I've never been on this side. I've only been
Country, Sweden.
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 That's
Is that relevant?
not to my knowledge, but I'm going to look into it for sure. Like, that's very specific. Very cool. Let's go deep dive into Anne Bonny across the street. Let's go learn a few things about her.
Kelly.
Kelly?
Kelly? Sweden.
I find it hilarious because she's very hard of hearing. She is, and I couldn't hear any words coming out of her.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Wonder if we could come like tour these churches.
I heard Kelly back there
I got that one.
and performance.
Performance.
Okay, I got productive.
We were just talking about Dock Street Theater. Well, this is my last hurrah. This is my big crazy story. This story has a ton of holes in it. So again, you all are getting the very good gist on how your devices work. So awesome on you. Your device will hopefully give us quite a bit out of this location.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be stoked.
Did you put up your little
Especially
thing?
Since I almost feel like with what you told us about your brother's new place opening up, you might actually have a tie, considering we've already heard the word brother right before you started telling us about.
Oh.
So I'm pretty stoked to see what happens here. So we're going to be discussing first that little tiny building up there with the crosses on it. Those are not crosses, those are earthquake bolts. The gist behind earthquake bolts is that they're turnbuckles. In the event we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, they say, which we haven't, by the way, you're supposed to be able to turn those turnbuckles and it'll straighten the building back up again. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. I bring these up because this is the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in, because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We are here because this place is familiar to Anne Bonny. So it's kind of like using a toy to attract a child ghost. It's the same principle. We don't have many buildings this old. So we talked about the original Charlestown walls earlier as well. I'd like to at least give you a little bit more history on the building before we get into Anne Bonny. That garage over there is where the wall stood. So it went up past the powder magazine and started going south towards the battery. So we're literally locked into the corners right now of where the wall stood. This is a gunpowder magazine. If it gets attacked from a Revolutionary warship or a pirate ship from 3 blocks away, this is the furthest away it could be and still be within the city to be protected. But those cannonballs are going to have a hard time getting through the 32-inch thick walls. Like, they're huge. But let's say that it does, and it goes all the way through and it blows up the gunpowder. There is sand in the roof from the early 1700s during its construction that's supposed to go up in the air with the explosion and then fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. That's another great idea that doesn't work. We had another powder magazine closer to the battery. It did get hit. The sand went up. The building burned to the ground. It doesn't exist. This one's just never been attacked, even though it's served in 7 different wars, including the Civil War. So this is a pretty important building for us. It is a museum now, so if you ever need to get out of the heat or cold here in South Carolina, that's a great $5 to spend. Again, not an advocate, just love this building. So, again, we're here because this building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Not at all. 10 years, small building.
Yeah. Super efficient.
I know. Our story actually begins right in the middle of it. So, John, come see how accurate I am. Since, obviously, the brother owns something called Anne Bonny's. The young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She moves here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Are you guys with me so far? I know there's a lot of twists. The 3 of them are running away from his wife. Yeah, kind of crazy stuff. How angry was the Irish wife? Just saying. So they land in Georgetown, just north of here. Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly, which means he has to send young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell anything from the plantation and keep things afloat. Anne back home in Ireland was kind of a badass. She actually killed one of her servants when she was like 10 or 12 years old with a knife to the belly. So I want you to keep that mentality about her as we go through the rest of this. We're going to fast forward. The building's done in 1713. In 1715, pirates are coming through town, and Anne is stoked because she's going to fall in love. First guy, James Bonny. Obviously, you can kind of see where this is going already. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormack becomes Anne Bonny. When they get there, this is not the swashbuckling Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy is a privateer. He's a spy for the British. He's a coward. So this is not who she wants. A few years later, she falls in love again. Guy number 2. Guy number 2 turns out to be John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is the same character that they based Jack Sparrow off of, just so you guys know. He is kind of a quirky fella, but he has his own ship, and Anne wants to be part of it. You cannot put a girl on the crew. Girls curse pirate ships. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, you could be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. He's the captain. That's the way it's going to go down. She's okay with this cross-dressing because Dad used to hide her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, let's do this. So with that said, I don't know what this guy's doing. Let's put 2 and 2 together. Being a female in the captain's quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew, right? Somebody's going to figure out she's a girl. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby. These are friends of mine, and come back later. We'll figure it out. So she has the baby, but returns with no child. We have no idea what happened to that child. Yeah, she's also dressed like a female. She doesn't give a damn anymore about hiding her gender. So this makes Jack pretty angry. While she was away giving birth to his child, he actually captured another pirate crew, and they're down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting because that's what Anne does. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females dressed like guys on the same ship. It's kind of uncanny. This young lady's name is Mary Reed. She falls in love with Mary Reed. They become friends, possibly lovers. We'll never know for certain. And Mary becomes part of the crew. The British find out where they are, and they send their entire fleet of ships to come down and take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks to try to save the ship. Obviously, they're going to get taken. It's a whole fleet of British ships taking them down. So as they're being arrested, she looks at her captain and beau and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." So, with that said, the word dog shows up here quite frequently on the spirit boxes. It actually showed up here last night on a different spirit box. The judge, his name is Nicholas Laws. He wants to see the 2 men that fought back by themselves. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken crew that wouldn't come up and fight, so they're gone. The 2 ladies go in front. They reveal their gender, trying to save themselves. He doesn't care. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they said, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman at 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging. Dad is still here in Charleston with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, guy number 4. Yes, we're going to count Mary, because we'll never know. And has 4 children and dies at the age of 84. I know, very abrupt ending again. However, Mary Reed died in a Jamaican jail in 1721 from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. I'm sure it was bumpy and gross and scurvious and whatever you want to come up with. We have no idea if either pregnancy claim was true. And I only left out 2 things on purpose for the spirit boxes, so that way you guys can ask whatever you want to.
Okay.
2 things I left out were the name of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and the mistress. And then I left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. I did that on purpose, so that way you guys can have something to at least get started with. For those of you with cameras, if you would like to go to the front of the powder magazine to actually get some footage of the building from there, you can. But I am going to hold on to you guys for 1 more minute because I told you at the beginning of the tour that people have passed out. This is a story where it's actually relevant, so give me 1 more minute of your time. back in September. It was much cooler than this, actually. I brought my team back here. It's probably 7 to 8 people. The kid next to me goes white as a ghost. Pun intended. I have to pick him up by his armpit. His boyfriend picks him up from the other side. We take him over to that brick wall, which is where we're going to end, by the way, close to the building. There's a little stoop over there he can sit on. I send the boyfriend over with a couple of dollars, get him a bottle of water. He comes back. He's feeling better. I then tell the story. After I spread everybody out with all of their devices, they pull me aside and say, Nick, we have to tell you something. Like, what's going on? We are 2 transgender males, meaning I had 2 females dressed as males, just like Ann and Mary on my tour. This is stuff I can't make up. I'm a good writer, but damn, that was a good one.
Wow.
I cannot make that stuff up. They're perfectly fine with me telling you guys this every night because it made sense as to why one of them felt faint the minute we entered the space. We actually had some pretty good activity come up that night. Relative terms, movement on the REM pod, like it was a good night. There was some really good stuff going on here. This is a hit or miss location. We're either going to have a lot or we're not going to have anything at all. So I'll kind of know within the first 5 minutes of whatever's coming through the spirit boxes. We are going to turn on your REM pod in here, John. So
Yeah, gotcha.
For sure.
Cool.
But yeah, let's spread out. Let's have some fun. I'm going to head over to the wall and let you guys go to work and come back and see me in like 5 minutes. I'll kind of recap and see if we need to keep going or not.
Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it.
You're gonna grid?
Yeah.
You told me to kind of follow you, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're getting middles. Straight orange.
What's the number?
There's no number. He said they're independent.
Oh, that's right.
John, what are those colors over there?
Orange. Orange. So middle.
The closer, just so you know, the closer you get to that side of the lot, the more that thing's going to go off because of the parking meters. So,
Right. Okay.
But yeah, if you guys definitely want to go.
Well, I'm gonna grid it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Get
you'll
full coverage on this bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Check out the front when you guys get the chance. That
The
way
front
you
of.
guys,
over
yeah.
here.
So you'll have to exit the lot and make a left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gonna cover it
Yeah. Just don't interrupt the other tours. It's the only thing I ask.
Okay.
Let them do their thing and move on.
for sure. If I see one, I'll get away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just let them have their space. They don't know what we're doing out
I
here.
don't even see him.
Yeah. I don't either. I'm
But if
okay
I do,
going
I'll get
over
away
it.
from him.
It's just crazy that I'm like the only guy working tonight. Pretty nuts.
Like, what is going on?
But yeah.
That's what we were kind of like, Thursday maybe it'll be less crazy, so let's just get this done tonight because we wanted to do it either tonight or tomorrow, so we thought Friday could get a little busy.
Friday, I only have 2 tickets left for tomorrow, but the weird thing is with it being Mother's Day weekend, I think I only have like 3 people for Saturday.
Huh.
But my tickets are higher on Fridays and Saturdays.
Are they?
Yeah, they're $49
Okay.
and $45 during the week. So Fridays and Saturdays, I made them a little bit higher just because it's Friday
Yeah,
and Saturday.
that makes sense.
Summertime.
Maybe I'm not going to follow him every step of this journey, but I'll just keep that camera on him.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
See that? John comes back around.
Four, 5, 9.
What are the numbers?
4, 5, 9.
Kids.
I told you you'd get better at that as the night went on.
I feel like I need the 2 ears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm listening to it in the morning, like I have beats that I use, but I have to use both. I mean, I listen to it every single day. John, let me see that word list. Let me see how you do on that.
Come on, twice.
Do you want to try this again?
I can't hear it.
You can't hear anything.
That's why I said I found it so funny. Like, you can't, you're deaf.
Let's move closer to this wall so he can move around. He had medical over by large outlet, or by Philadelphia outlet. He didn't tell me you had medical.
Hey?
Medical showed up over by Philadelphia.
Yeah, I told her.
I must have missed that.
Medical was right after, there was another word there.
Inherent thing.
Yeah, it was probably like that thing.
There could not have been a better thing for you to manage tonight
What do you mean?
than that.
Oh wait, are we near? I got red.
You have a red? Is it from you moving around?
I had red, went away real fast. We got red.
Any numbers show up, John?
No, I hadn't gotten above 3.5.
Well, 3.5
Ooh,
is
here
decent
you go.
for this location.
Oh, look at it's like purple.
Two devices.
Why, look at it, it's purple.
I see it.
It's like holding.
That's pretty nuts.
I wonder if that power line has anything to do with it.
Yeah, it's kind of far away for it to be giving us. Like, you're actually in like the perfect spot.
Oh, we got it again.
Because he's not too close to the street where he's going to pick up the parking meters,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not going to pick up anything from the buildings either. Like, he's in a perfect spot.
Is this another tour? This looks like. Oh yeah, ours is much better. Like that's a giant tour. Then you have to like run and try to
That's
catch
actually
up.
a smaller tour.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, there's some more people joining. Yeah, again, they usually pack them in all the way up to 20.
And
See why I like to do the smaller groups?
then you have to
got the
walk
personal
fast to
attention.
try to catch up.
This is like very slow.
Well, this is where you get to interact. You get to ask questions. Like, I'm totally fine with it. With something like that, it's, you know, standing and listening. Oh, you're getting some flickering.
Yeah, it was good.
Because
He keeps you set, like, that's nuts.
Oh.
Oh, that's awesome. A party.
He's got a party. Any numbers on there, John? While that's doing that.
No, nothing about like 1.5.
Okay, that's pretty natural. But that was pretty nuts that it was like
It
the
was like
piano
a-
keys.
Jeez, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, they're all taking pictures hoping to catch something.
Oh, did you really?
Did I say that out loud? I
You're
did.
like, what?
He's gonna get robbed.
Is this the parking meters over here?
That's probably coming
Now
from
it
the
says
meters.
hurt.
Hurt?
What did it say before that?
Bush.
Bush.
I told him
So
go
you go to the
closer to the
bush.
bush.
Weird,
And then I went
huh?
nuts, and then it said hurt. Now it says spine.
Spine?
Hurts fine.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Because that's
Cool.
yeah, like that's
It said come to the bush, and then it started going. You
now
know,
it says
it's like,
hurt spine.
Yeah, maybe like come back here.
Well, here's the thing.
Now you're
If you know how, like when they hung people, mainly pirates, it's because they wanted to break the spine. It wasn't
Yeah.
about the neck or choking somebody to death. It was to break the spine, and they would immediately die. Sometimes, if they didn't drop hard enough because they were a light person, then they would choke to death.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they were trying to break the spine because that's what happens. Why the noose goes the way that it does up the side of your neck. They're trying to pull on that, so that way when you fall, it breaks the spine. So it says hurt spine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That was-
I'm stretching it, but
So people were getting hung.
Oh, that was my hand.
okay. I was gonna say, dude, what do you have
My
going
hand.
on over
That
there?
was my hand.
Are you hearing anything?
Yeah, but not stuff that really makes sense.
Well, what are you hearing? Maybe I can make sense of it.
It's like half words here and
I can't
there.
remember.
Like,
Okay.
you know.
That's why we record the whole thing,
Yeah.
so I can go through it again. other than his craziness, like, you guys haven't told me anything. Those numbers, I have no idea what it is. We did hear 2-1 on the spirit box.
Yep.
Mary Reed died in 1721. So I'll be looking for words like Reed, or even the name Mary.
I heard David.
David. All right, so
That's a good one.
kind of. It's frustrating. Here's why. I'm gonna set my bag down. So let's rally up. Let me tell you what's going on. So I have this new spirit box I told you guys about earlier that's supposed to take out the white noise and only give us like 10 to 12 words per night. One of the things that keeps popping up on that damn spirit box in this location is the name David. I can't find a David that would tie anything to the powder magazine that's super important, or any kind of pirate David that would actually make any kind of sense. The first 2 nights that I was using that new spirit box, David came up twice, and I didn't even bring it up to the second person. Obviously, I didn't bring it up to you. So why the hell do I keep getting the name David here? Again, it's pissing me off because I can't find the damn relation. Sorry, it's one of those pieces where, as a writer, I should be able to find it, and I can't find it. So I'm glad you heard it, but I'm pissed off about it. Because I'm going to dig again and hopefully find something. It has to. I keep getting it over and over and over again.
So, the research that you do, where do you like go to get this information?
I mean, I obviously start with Google, but I'm looking for valid websites. You know, things that are going to give me actual information. Especially, like, for example, I'm going to type in, again, David in quotes on Google and put in Powder Magazine Charleston after it and see where I can start getting things. I thought she sneezed.
What'd you hear?
Yeah, I thought I heard dozens of royal feet.
Dozens of royal feet?
Probably not.
I'm writing it
Probably
down.
not. No, we'll say he did.
Yeah.
That's
I like it.
interesting.
I like it.
Again, usually your first instinct is what you have.
Well, those are English boxwoods. That type of bush right there? Aren't those boxwoods?
Okay.
English boxwoods?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what relevance
English,
does that
royal, feet, roots, dozens.
Ooh, I don't know.
Well,
It said
here's
bush.
where the other term where royal is going to come into play. It'll make sense here in a moment. So I didn't even put that together until just now. So let's get into the picture pages, right? So
Yeah, those are
wrap this
boxwoods.
one up.
Dozens of royal feet.
100
You have 6?
Yep. 6.
party 100.
6? The
Yeah.
6th bush, maybe?
Sue Howard Hardy
Should we
died
dig?
6 days after her stillborn child.
Oh.
I will tell you that the number 7 shows up here all the time. There's a couple of reasons. First off, Dr. Ladd from Philadelphia Alley was born on July 7th, 7/7. So if we hear it twice, it's usually relatable to him. This powder magazine behind me served in 7 different wars. John Calhoun, our 7th vice president, is buried on the other side of that wall. We hear 7 here all the time. However, in the past couple of nights, nothing. Nothing at all. I like to show you what Anne Bonny looked like, just because, and this is one of the few pictures I could find of her with a shirt on. She liked to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. So again, I get a lot of teenage boys on this tour. I don't need angry moms too. I also like this picture because it shows off the flintlocks. So the flintlocks are the guns. I'm not a gun person by any means, but I love the flintlock just because it actually evolved over time. I'm infatuated with the ornateness of it. So there's a lot of decorum that goes into this guy. Like, I'm fascinated by it. And I don't want to say, like, this is actually wrong. Like, she probably would have been using a duckbill, which is much shorter. Womb?
Wound.
Oh, well, that's talking about pirates, obviously. The name of her parents, William Cormack, Mary Brennan. You guys were not expecting a secondary Mary, because we already talked about Mary Reed. That's one of the reasons why I left that question out. So, again, I subliminally put it there, but you guys still came up with nothing. What's funny is normally when I hand the spirit boxes over to teenagers, they usually come up with both names, like right off the top. It's uncanny, like how it happens. And it's usually like young boys. I don't know what it is. I like to show off Calico Jack too, just because he was named because of the jackets that he wore. They came from the men that he killed, which were obviously from the British. So that's why he was called Calico Jack. So this is one of the few pictures you can find of him that's actually anything relevant,
Dozens
like
of
close to
royal
it.
feet?
Yeah, doesn't. Well, hang on, it's going to get even better. The name of his ship was called the Kingston, that I told you guys to ask about. Obviously, I don't expect Kingston to come through, but I do expect King. However, we did get the word royalty. Stretch that a little bit and say, okay, we'll see what happens and see what I find in the morning, because again, I'm going to spot check it too. At this point, I'm going to start collecting devices. You guys can ask me more questions if you'd like. I'm an open book, as I'm sure you guys imagine. I've already been telling you about my ailments and what medications I need when I have a seizure. So, again, I'm an open book if you guys have more questions. We're going to go ahead and stop your videos at this point. So,
What device is your favorite?
my favorite, probably that red spirit box, because when I'm doing an investigation, I'm not in the middle of the night, craziness. I go visit museums and places just like y'all do. I just have everything running on me. The reason I love that red spirit box so much is because I can put it on mute and put it in my pocket, and I can go listen to it later, so it's not bothering anybody. So that thermal imaging camera, I normally wear a jacket that has a pocket right here, so it's just the camera sticking out, so nobody knows what I'm doing there. I haven't taken that particular camera out yet on one of my investigations, obviously just for the tours. But yeah, the red spirit box is probably one of my favorites, and I do run 2 of them. One of them I'll run on super fast, so no radio chatter, and I'll also put it in what they call a Faraday wallet. It stops from signals coming in.
You see a
so
brand name on
any
that?
voices I hear
I
are
think the
definitely
camera I
not
thought he
radio
said
chatter,
was
and then I'll run one
GoPro,
slow
but-
before
Is
radio
what?
chatter
I thought he
to
said
see
it was
if
a
anything
GoPro,
matches up.
but I'm
So
not sure.
again,
That is?
it's an interesting style that I have to be able to,